Hi, I'm Jenny Glick, licensed marriage and family therapist, certified sex therapist. But for you, I'm a relationship mentor, torchbearer, and guide to your own fullest becoming as a woman. Let's talk about blame. I was singing that song in my head today. Blame the one you're with, not love the one you're with, right? Do 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 do. So that song, right? And makes me think of how it is that, yes, it would be really easy to love the one we're with, but what we tend to do when we're married for a long time to someone who's different from us, because many of us do choose people who are different from us, we tend to blame them when things get hard. And so I'm going to teach you a couple of tools and tricks and tips in order to come back home to yourself during this video. If you are enjoying what I'm sharing, please like, subscribe, comment below. I would love it, or share it with a friend. So back to blame. Why is it so easy to blame? I believe that one of the reasons why it's so easy for us to blame someone else is because we are not trained to take responsibility. And if you are a woman who is successful, if you have ever described yourself as type A or type B plus in the world, if you own a business, if you're an entrepreneur, you're so used to being probably quietly critical of yourself behind the scenes. And one of the reasons why you have become so well accomplished in your field or in your life in so many ways is because you've pushed yourself really hard, is because you run around with a whole lot of self-blame. And in our culture, self-blame in women can express as perfectionism, right? We can walk around being hard on ourselves, blaming ourselves for not doing it right, not doing it fast enough, all the different things that we do. And that clenching and gripping creates in our world success in a lot of ways because we stay late for the meeting or bake the cupcakes for the PTA or run the PTA. And we do 80% of the house management and childcare and all of the things. And we also work full time. And underneath all of that, there's a boot on the back of your neck where you're being incredibly hard on yourself, right? Incredibly critical. And so when something comes up in your relationship, in your marriage, with your partner, the easiest thing to do is to drop into blame because you walk around unconsciously blaming yourself all the time, blaming yourself for your body or your dirty house or whatever it might be. The ways that you can be really hard on yourself internally will just flip and point directly to your partner. And so one of the easiest things to do in marriage is to blame the one we're with. And we don't do that because we're evil and terrible women. We do that because most of us have conditioned inside of ourselves so much self-blame, so much what I think of as self-terrorizing, that it's just kind of looking for an outlet, right? And your partner, who you might be with all of the time, is the easiest person for that to come out towards. So one of the easiest and simplest ways to stop blaming your partner is to create a sense of safety and security in your own self. And the easiest way to do that is to notice where it is that you have a boot on the back of your neck. Notice how often you are rushing, pushing, forcing, striving, clenching, gripping, sucking the life out of yourself in order to take care of everybody else's needs. Yes, as women, we are relationally oriented. And so that means that often we do want to take care of relationships outside of us before the relationship with ourselves. However, that has not gone very well for many of us as women, because that means that we have our gaze outside of us so often that we're not tending to this situation here, which is what I teach in my Your Marriage is Your Ashram experience, the thinking, feeling, doing, and believing that you condition in your body will create an energetic signature. It creates an experience that you will have in yourself and in your life and in your marriage. And if what you're thinking, feeling, believing, and doing In here is you're being hard on yourself, you're thinking you're behind, you're thinking you're not enough, you're behaving in a way where you are not taking care of yourself with a nap or space or time or freedom. If you're believing that you're not enough, if you're believing that everybody else is better than you, if you're believing that you need to compare yourself to someone else, and then if you're showing up doing all kinds of actions in alignment with that thinking, feeling, and believing, what you will find is that you end up in a space that is commonly known as emotional burnout or adrenal fatigue or have an anxiety disorder. But what has really happened is you've conditioned yourself to live in a way that does not nourish who you are. So I'm an advocate for women to learn how to be deeply well-nourished in how they think, how they feel, how we do, and how we believe in our lives so that we don't need to drop into blame with our partner. So if you tend to blame your partner, if you tend to be critical of your partner, if you tend to participate in castrating your partner emotionally by the ways that you show up with him, then likely you are doing many of those things to yourself. And you're doing it to yourself every single day in a very conditioned way. And that means that you're running all of those thoughts, feelings, beliefs through you. And of course, they're going to come out to your partner. The easiest thing to do is to vomit our criticism onto someone else. Otherwise, you are left to become curious about what's happening in you and why it is that you're feeling so critical of yourself. And actually, rather than why it is, because lately in how I work, not so much as a therapist, but as a mentor and a guide, a torchbearer for women, is that the why doesn't matter. We just know that it's what's happening. If what's happening now is you're being self-critical, then the practice is how to decouple from that practice. And if you want to follow that windy path to discover why, you're welcome to do so. That can take many, many years or decades, and that doesn't necessarily produce any change. My perspective and my practice with women is when you grow awareness to be able to see the parts of you that are being self-critical, the parts of you that are blaming yourself, to notice those parts and then also become aware of the other parts of you, because you have a part of you that does actually want to love the one you're with and not blame the one that you're with, right? And that starts with you loving yourself. And loving yourself is not a mamsy-pamsy act, especially in this world where we are pushed to strive and to keep our focus outside of ourselves all the time. It is a revolutionary act for women to come back home to ourselves and to begin the daily practice of love through our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, and our behaviors every single day, having boundaries around ourselves, our energy, our intention, our attention, so that we can feel deeply well-nourished. And when we are, the likelihood of us blaming another or blaming ourselves becomes very reduced. If this video has been helpful for you, please like and subscribe and come back for more. Comment below if you'd care for me to respond. And thanks so much for being here.